Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, and welcome to Nerd Tube. And it's time to talk about the greatest show of all time, also known as Quantum Leap. I'm here with Jim, also known as Commodore Boone of Commodore Productions. How you doing, mate?
Doing good. We got Quantum Leap back, man, for past 2 weeks. I was lost without Quantum Leap.
Yeah,
Damn.
I'm very happy. I'm sorry, I'm having a little bit of technical issue here. I'm very happy that
hmm
Quantum Leap is back,
Oh, yeah. It was a hell of a good
but
episode. Man, it was good.
it really was. Was it nice to see Robert Picardo back on the screens?
Yeah, he did okay. I mean, it wasn't that great, but, it was good to see him. I mean, he had the lower class role that I would think, but, of course, the other guy was always the one that's, leaping, 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 leaping. I mean, that was a pretty crazy episode there. It was interesting.
I'm, ge- I'm getting a little bit of feedback for 1 second. Let me just quickly just check what's going on. Okay, I think I'm fine now. So yeah, this was actually one of the most funnest episodes I've seen in
hmm
Quantum Leap, with the time loop and all of that. I did thoroughly enjoy it. I kind of saw some of the things that would end up being hindrances for Ben. I kind of saw the writing on the wall to a degree. Like I
Yep.
knew he wasn't able. I knew that he could only leap up to five bodies. I knew before they even told him that you couldn't
Oh, really?
leap back into a body that I just felt it.
Oh,
Like
okay.
I just felt that was like I felt the fact that that the five people in the elevator,
hmm
and that he would be able to leap into them at least once, but
Once,
he
yeah.
wouldn't be able to leap into them twice. I had a feeling that would be the case. They brought it up obviously in the episode that he couldn't do a second leap into somebody else,
hmm
so somebody that he's already been into, and all of that. But this was a great episode. It was quite
Oh,
simple, really. He had to stop a nuclear explosion, and he kept having different tries, but yeah. So
he had about
eh,
he had about four tries, but he figured it out at the end down there. Yep.
yeah, and this was something Addison did tell him as well at the beginning of this episode,
Yeah.
is that finally he's in his element,
Oh yeah.
because prior to this, um he's never really been in his element. Engaging accelerator. Daniel Vance is here.
Hey Daniel,
Robert
what's up?
Picardo is playing Dr. Woosley, the same name he had in Stargate. I had no
There you
idea
go.
because I kind of stopped watching
Oh yeah,
Stargate after a
I knew
while.
that.
Yeah. Like for me, like Stargate is Kurt Russell and James Spader.
hmm
You know what I mean? Not fucking MacGyver and this fucking poor man's James Spader. So yeah, like after a while, I like Stargate kind of lost me a little bit, and Anyway,
Well, there
what's
was
going
a
on?
little MacGyver in it, and it all came down to a pin in the episode.
Oh
A pin.
yes.
All you
What?
gotta do
What
is
have you
hit
seen?
this and activate the thing, and it blows up, and you're in trouble.
Have you
It
seen
all
them?
came down to a
Have you
pin.
seen? Have you seen the movie Goldeneye, the James Bond movie?
Yeah,
Goldeneye.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Remember when the guy Boris, he had the pen. He kept tapping it,
hmm
because, but that was James Bond's explosive pen that was given to him by Q, and he
Yeah.
took it off him and he was trying to write with it, and he was like clicking it, and anyway,
See ya.
that's the vibe I got.
Yeah.
Um, so there is a sabotage being done on this nuclear reactor, and the five people in the elevator are all suspects. Ben is whilst he's at the reactor, it does blow up,
hmm
and then everyone thinks that he's dead, but the first time round, but
Right.
then he ends up going in a time loop, and he ends up being in the body of somebody else who's in that
Yep.
elevator, and he's able to once again, have another opportunity to try and resolve the issue. But each
hmm
each person in the elevator are all different to one another, and they all have different levels of clearance and all of that. So the first time around he's in the kernel, but at this particular moment he has no idea what the fuck's going on. and he's obviously a very influential person, but he doesn't know what's going on. So when the reactor does blow up,
Hmm.
he's unable to stop it because it's the first time it's happened,
Right.
and then he dies, and then everyone in the present day are really upset because they think that Ben is
Yeah.
dead, but then boom, all of a sudden he comes back to life again, and he's in another body. Second time round, he's in the lab rat, the scientist, so to speak.
Hmm.
Um, and and just to cut a long story short, as we are doing spoilers here, this is the person who ends up being the saboteur.
Yeah.
But Ben doesn't realize that. So, and one of the reasons he is the saboteur, one of the ways he's able to activate the explosive device, which caused the gas leak, was with the pen.
The
And
hydrogen
Ben doesn't
gas.
realize, yeah, Ben doesn't realize this. So, like when he's using the pen himself to write stuff down and try to, like he accidentally activates it. So when he goes down to see the explosive device, he doesn't realize that he's activated it, and then it blows up a
Hmm.
vent, and then a hydrogen comes out, mixes with the oxygen, and causes an explosion. And so he dies. And then next thing you know, he's in the journalist, and by
Hmm.
being in her, he's trying to investigate who would have caused this explosion. And but he doesn't really get very far. And then penultimately he ends up in Robert Picardo's body,
Hmm.
who's like the chief physicist,
Yeah.
who basically created this whole particular project.
The
And
one person they had to talk to, he was in his body.
yep. And before I continue, let me hear what Daniel Vance says. They are in the
Yep.
Klaproth nuclear power plant named after Martin Klaproth, who discovered uranium in
Yep.
1789. Oh, yes, you are a wealth of knowledge.
I
Yes,
I
yes, yes.
I
Oh,
wasn't
wait,
around
quiet
then.
you, quiet you. Oh, wait, quiet you. Bloody hell, it's 11:30 at
Oh
night for
yeah, shut
fuck's
up.
sake. No, you're not you, my birds. But yeah, they love making noise when it's late. But at this particular point, he gets given the news
Hmm.
that he won't be able to return into to the body of somebody that he's already previously been
Right.
in. Once he's been in everybody's body who's in the elevator, and if he doesn't resolve this issue, then
He's
by the
gone.
final person he's gone.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So yeah.
That you know,
So
if someone told me, he said, if you can't figure out in the last body and it blows, you're gone. Great. I got enough pressure going through 5 people right now. Now I'm going to kill myself. Really?
well, I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you one thing. I knew that the way they were focusing on this, like the way
Yeah.
that janitor was constantly mopping up that spillage on the floor, like they fucking made you focus on that all the fucking
Yes.
time.
Yeah.
Like yeah, like he's cleaning up, he's mopping the
Yep.
floor, he's mopping the floor. Like that's got I knew that would play a part, but what the part it played was kind of minuscule. All it did was that eventually Robert Picardo's character he would slip on it because
Yes.
when
Oh my.
when when Ben finally takes over the body of the janitor, he doesn't clean up that spill. I
Right.
immediately noticed that he left his mop and bucket in the
Yep.
elevator.
Yep.
So he wasn't cleaning up the spill. So eventually, and who the hell slips on Coca Cola? Seriously,
Robert.
have you?
He did. Boom! Right on the back of his head. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm all right. We're behind schedule. Let's get going.
I just think should have become visible from the reactor's
Yeah.
Sharon Cherenkov radiation. Is that Cherenkov? They said radiation. It's not as if they remember once a new loop began.
Mhm.
I mean, it's fiction. Let's not think too hard into it, dude.
Yeah.
As much as it's hard. Like when you go to that level, like I'm thinking to myself, damn, like I don't know, like this is all made up anyway. But nevertheless, that Coke Spillage basically bought Ben some time when he's like snooping in
Hmm.
Robert Picardo's office and trying to find some clues. Eventually, the colonel comes along, and he's been given clues himself by the person who ends up being the saboteur, because which is Eugene, the scientist, because he's been threatened by Eugene, not to stop this particular project, but he never knew who it was, and then finally he believes Ben, who's the janitor, that somebody else is trying to do it, and then they realize it's Eugene, and then they stop Eugene, or they try to. They actually, in a way, I think Ben tries to buys buys tries to like I forgot the phrase, but he's trying to
He's trying to talk him
uh,
out of
yeah,
he's trying to
he's trying to
reason
talk it.
with him. He's trying to reason
Yeah,
with
for
him and
sure.
not to do it.
He's trying to reason with him, and
Yes,
he's trying to get to the compassion side of him.
yes,
But
got it.
he doesn't. He fails. He actually fails. And if it wasn't for the colonel
Mm-hmm.
shooting Eugene in the hat in the arm,
Yep,
Eugene would have set off the bomb, and
yep,
Ben would
he
have
is.
been dead. And but by stopping that, they're able to obviously change time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the reactor's a success. Quiet you, quiet you, and yeah, it ends up being everything ends up being hunky dory. Now we do get some of the stuff in the present day. I just want to quickly go to the comments here. We all think that the hero, we were the hero story, when we're the villain. This is foreshadowing Sam Beckett's eventual return and him being in charge of the evil leapers. No,
There you
no way, no, 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 no.
go.
Sam Beckett is too much of a good guy.
Yep, he is.
You know what I mean? To Sam Beckett is too good of a guy to do that, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. We'll see how that pans out. I don't want that to happen, to tell you the truth, because honestly, if Sam Beckett ends up being evil, which they do sometimes with the hero, they make the hero end up being the bad guy. If that happens with Sam, then it puts it taints all the good that he's done in his show.
Yeah.
So I really hope that doesn't happen. But
Oh,
obviously, yeah, but as we saw, Eugene does get stopped.
mhm.
The days. Oh, hold on. Daniel has said something else. I'll get to what he says in a second. But at the end of the day, um, so Ben once again he saves the day, and
Again.
he's able to leap again.
Hmm.
Addison's really happy as well because Ben's not dead.
Right.
Also, we get a lot more of Janice um, in this episode as well. And there's a moment where Janice and Jennifer are deciding
Mm.
what's the best protocol to take regarding Ben. Do we let him continue his leap, or do we disconnect him from it? And
Yep.
then Magic has to make a call, and he decides to listen to Janice over Jennifer, and that kind of makes Jennifer a bit pissed off.
Hmm.
But then Magic also explains that the reason why he went with Jennifer as well is that he should have went with Jennifer when his mum told him not to, and he listened to Jennifer's mum he listened to Janice's mum instead of listening to Janice.
Right.
So he decided that this time around he's going to defend Janice by backing her. Quiet you. So
Well,
yeah,
well, the bird is trying to tell you their experience about this episode too. Zam, come on.
see, I'm not saying he'll be evil, just that we misunderstood
Eh,
the evil leapers from the start. Yeah, but they're called the evil leapers, Vance. Like, I mean, that could be a misunderstanding as well because that's how we noticed them. I get it, but there was a moment in the original Quantum Leap where Sam was supposed to be working for God. I really hope they
mhm.
don't do that
I've seen
again, to
that
tell
one.
you the truth. But that was honestly, that's just so fucking stupid because the evil leapers were supposed to be working for the devil, and they were trying to ruin people's lives in order to leap.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Yep. In that
I genuinely,
episode, there was people there that he talked to when he went up to the bar and looked. They was gone. In that episode.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And look, there's still other things to resolve, like that Martinez or Rodriguez or whatever the fuck that guy's name is. That still needs to happen. You know what I mean? Ben's obviously trying to maybe leap into the future to stop the guy from the future who's leaping into the past to stop him. You know, it's crazy. But Janice, because she's trying to build a bridge now with the rest of the Quantum Leap crew,
Right.
she does decide to give Addison a little tidbit on this whole Quantum Leap saga, and that is who was the person who told Ben to leap in the first place. Now, is it somebody we know? Like, could it have been Magic? Could it have been Jennifer? Could it have been Ian? You know, could it have been one of those guys? Or is it somebody we don't know? You know what I mean? Could it have been Sam Beckett? Maybe somehow. You know,
We'll
who
find out
knows?
next week.
I guess we'll find out next week. Now, next week's episode, from what I see, is that it's a this is going to be an interesting episode as well because it's to do with uh the person Ben leaps into. I don't know if that person's a male or a female, but they have a trans daughter,
Okay.
and so this is obviously it's set in the year 2012, and it's obviously going to be about prejudice against trans people.
Right.
Um, it's also going to be, as it's going to be set in 2012. I wonder if Ben, at this particular period, as he's only 10 years from when he began Quantum Leap, would maybe try to get hold of Magic or something like that,
Hmm.
and communicate with him and tell him some stuff that maybe might help them. I don't know. You know,
All theory so
Daniel
far.
Vance maybe is the Scottish genes, but Leap sounded so wrong compared to Leapt,
Hmm.
and then he said Leap so many times.
Yep.
Oh, fair enough. Oh, I had no idea you had Scottish genes. You must drink iron brew. Drink iron brew. That's what you need. Iron fucking brew. And
Pumpkin spice.
also by the way, if you're Scottish, you need to deep fat fry everything
Why?
because Scottish people because that's what they do. You know what a Mars bar is?
Uh,
Mars bar.
yeah.
You never seen a Mars bar?
Oh, a Mars
Come
bar.
on.
Yes, yes, yes. Mars.
Yeah. In Scotland, they deep fat fry the Mars bar.
Ew.
You know, you go
Sounds.
to a fish and chip shop. You go to a fish and chip shop, and they'll have Mars bars, and they'll put them in, and they'll cover them in batter
Hmm.
and throw it in the deep fat fryer,
Yeah.
and you can eat it that way. They deep fat fry fucking everything out there in Scotland.
Sounds like it.
Nevertheless, yeah. Anyway, so next week Ben
Moving
is going
on.
to try and help his trans daughter who is suffering prejudice. It's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Obviously, a lot of people but there are unfortunately many anti trans people in this world. They're not going to like this particular episode, but then again, there are a lot of people who are hating on the show The Last of Us because it
Right.
had a gay romance in that episode, and everyone was calling it woke. And now the phrase, go woke or go broke, was trending at one point, but theoretically that should be the case for The Last of Us. But Last of Us had one of the greatest stories of romance and growing old together ever in the most recent episode, in episode 3. And even people who consider themselves to be anti woke like that episode. And it's only the real hardcore who sees anyone who's gay on their television screen as woke, because nowadays the word woke is just so prostituted that
Mm.
you could have a hint of a gay person on your screen and all of a sudden it's fucking woke. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
ridiculous. And with the trans episode that will be coming out next week on on Quantum Leap, they're gonna call that work, even though the show has Ian, who is a non-binary transgendered character. They're gonna call, like, I just
Oh, come on. Quit working.
I just I just get frustrated with these things, like
Yeah.
people want a conflict, people want an issue, like they have, like they're hiding their prejudices behind the word woke, when really just now for me it's just a form of fascism and bigotry by somehow you're able to get away with it. I mean, if the reality is that when they see gay people on their screens, they think,
Mhm.
"Oh, I hate fags." A lot of these guys, like this one guy, he was on Twitter saying alpha males. I've got the tweet somewhere as well. Let me see if I can find it. It was incredible. And he goes, "Alpha males avoid the Last of Us."
Wow.
You know, um,
Remember, in the Star Trek universe, we accept everybody no matter what. No matter if you're green, yellow,
yeah.
purple, polka dotted, or whatever. Doesn't matter. All the same.
Attention. Oh,
Attention, attention.
yeah. Look. Here we go. Attention, all alpha males. The Last of Us has gone full woke liberal propaganda. Stay away if you are a true alpha male. So what I'm saying here with this is that this person who goes on about alpha males is
Yeah.
telling alpha males to stay away. So if you are telling alpha males to stay away, that means they can't handle seeing a couple of gay guys on their television screen, which makes them snowflakes, not makes them alpha males. So you're not an alpha male if you can't handle a gay relationship. You're a bitch. You're a fucking pussy. You know what I mean? And even then, I don't like using those words because it's
Yeah.
derogative towards females in the sense I'm
Right.
feminizing this person. They're not an alpha male. They're a fucking cuck male. They're a simp. They're an incel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They are. There's nothing alpha male about them whatsoever. It's ridiculous.
Yep.
But yeah, that's unfortunately what we're having to deal with. And this next episode of Quantum Leap with the trans daughter is definitely going to be something along those lines.
Yep.
And yeah, and because of it's quite liberal anyway. Quantum Leap to a degree, with a multiracial cast, which somehow that means liberal. A transgender character, which means liberal.
Right.
It's ridiculous. These people exist in our society.
Right. Sure
Yeah,
do.
these people genuinely exist in the world we live in,
Hmm.
and yet their appearances on television makes it liberal propaganda or left leaning propaganda. It's fucking ridiculous. You know, um,
But it also shows that we all can work together and solve problems and move and keep moving on. We
I
just got
you
to
wish that would
we
be
just
the
got to get
case.
past the
But
hate part and just help each other. You know.
look, the hate is always one sided because there's
Oh
there's
yeah, I
people
know.
out there in this there's people out there in this world who
Yep.
exist, and there's people out there in this world who wish that we don't exist,
Yep.
and they're the ones who have an issue. How insecure do you have to be to refer yourself as an alpha male, mate? Daniel Vance, there are so many of these dickheads out there who call themselves alphas, and
Yeah.
all they do is complain like fucking betas. I don't even call myself. I don't like using that term, myself because I don't believe it. First of all, that I am your quote unquote alpha fucking male. Especially if this is what it's supposed to be an alpha male. Like this is like the product of it. Like fucking whiny fuckers who have issues with people who are different.
Hmm.
And differences is supposed to be a good thing. It's the variety, it's the spice of life, and all of that. It's good that we're not all the same as long as we're not harming each other. But
Right.
also, a lot of the times, unfortunately, because of people's religious upbringings, they hate on gays. But these same people eat shellfish. These same people wear mixed fabrics. These same people have probably had premarital relationships and stuff like that. These same people who have already been married have maybe been divorced afterwards. All the things you're not supposed to do as a religious person, they've done at some point, but they just have to hate the gays because it says in the Bible, thou shalt not lie with a man as they don't lie with a woman. So that gives them carte blanche to hate on gays, but that's the one thing they fucking remember. It's just it just drives me crazy. It
Hmm.
drives me crazy. It does. I hate talking about this all the time, but we keep going back to it. And I know next week when we talk about next week's episode, um, yeah, there's going to be a lot of discussion on LGBTQ rights and stuff like that. There's going to be lots of fucking talk on that. So be prepared, everyone. So thank you very much, Commodore Boone, for joining me. Tomorrow, I'm going to be talking about the Bad Batch. That will be a recorded video, not a live video,
Okay.
unfortunately, because I need a break from live streaming. But then I'll be back on Thursday talking about Daniel Vance's favorite show of all time, National Treasure: The Edge
Oh,
of History. He loves that show. He
I
told me
know he does.
himself, and he told me himself on a DM that he loves that show
Yeah.
more than he loves Star Trek. And
What?
I'm thinking, wow. Yeah, I'm thinking, wow, Daniel Vance really loves National Treasure that much. He goes to me, yeah, man, like those characters, like Ethan and Liam, they're they're better versions of Riker and Picard. He told me that himself. Couldn't believe it, man. So yeah. Anyways, all right then. So we'll see you guys later for all of that. I do apologize. I am at the end of my gas tank right now as I'm fucking knackered, and I still got to charge my bloody car and
Uh,
run around my bedroom to put all my birds in the cage.
yo,
Yeah, and Boone, you got a video coming out, haven't you?
I released a video yesterday, Monday. It's a little
And what's
touching
it?
video. Just at the end, it's almost like a tear jerker. It was very hard for me to make the end of that video. When you watch it, then you'll know.
Fantastic. I'll be looking into that.
Yeah.
So yeah, look for Commodore Boone Productions on YouTube, and yeah, you can see his video too. All right then, guys. I'm so drained right now. My eyes. I can just see my eyelids as I look at myself on screen. So yeah,
he, he's
yeah.
gonna go
I'm
sleep.
I'm going I'm going full fucking Garfield here. All right. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to NerdTube, the greatest YouTube channel you never heard.